Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. There she is.
Yeah, my camera might glitch on me, so I have to turn it off every once in a while. I think I just got to break down and get another one.
I know. Technology.
Yeah.
It's funny, I'll announce this, but last meeting, I promised to do a survey for considering different dates and times for this forum. This came up as the best date and time.
Okay, well, that's good.
I know, so that we don't have to change anything, which would, lose a few people, I imagine.
Yeah, I completed the forum. I started to look at your last meeting too, but I got halfway through it and I got busy. So.
Well, they're always there.
Yep, that's
You
nice.
can always go back and refresh.
Yes.
Good morning, Erin. Good morning, Jill, Joe, Raymond. Oh, here comes Harry. This is going to be a fun one. Networking is kind of a cool topic, even if you're an introvert. Some of you in my presence, I know, are. Hi, Harry.
Morning, Christine.
How are you?
Well, I don't know how to react. It's not snowing.
I know. I want to go skiing on Friday. I'm not sure if it's going to work out. Put that like that. Ta-da. Let's see, give it another couple minutes. Okay. One of the things that came up from the last meeting is that we should have presenters of the month. And I think that's a great idea. So depending on what the topic is, which a presenter could choose, who would volunteer to be, give a 15-minute either introduction, slideshow, maybe not, however you want to do it. And then I can help facilitate the discussion. So it's really not a big, heavy lift. It's more of just starting the conversation. And I think that's really important as we move forward. So it's not like a big long-term commitment. It's just a one-term 15 to 20-minute volunteer gig. You guys are all looking at your feet. I'm not going to let you get away with that.
We're all looking at what?
Your feet.
Your feet.
It's like when somebody asks for a volunteer and everybody looks down. Nobody wants to say, I'll do it.
You mean like a subject on membership or a subject
Yeah.
like on an international project that we're doing right now? What kind of?
No, it's something that would help other clubs think about and build on membership.
Okay, so keeping it to membership.
Keep it to membership. This is, after all, a membership forum.
Right, that makes
So-
sense. Okay.
For those of you that are just popping in, I'm looking for somebody to be the volunteer presenter for next month. I'll leave in about 15 minutes overloaded schedule, John. Does that mean you're volunteering for next month?
No, it doesn't. I just got here.
Oh, well, I'm not talking about till next month. Why, Raymond, did you have a project you wanted to talk about that's particularly good for building membership? I mean, you can talk about membership and weave almost anything into it.
Yeah. No, I guess it's a stretch. It was just, it's not really membership. It's just, pulling, other Rotarians in the host country into a project we're doing there, but that's not membership. So
Gotcha.
I was stretching.
Well, that's
Um,
okay. You know, a lot of our topics have been a stretch. I'm even talking to, Thursday, I'm going to be meeting with the woman that's the zone grant coordinator. So we have our district grant coordinator and our or chair, and we have our district global grant chair, but she is the grant chair at the zone level. And I asked her, I'd like to have a friendly, experienced face to talk to us about grants, because I know as I get ready to be district governor, grants are my weak link. I haven't, and then I'm scared of them on top of that. And I don't think I'm the only one that's kind of like, grants, that's a lot of paperwork and a lot of follow-up and everything. And it is, but there's organizational structure to help. And so if we had more money, we could do more with our membership. So see how I take grants and you can tie it back into membership. So it's got to really think outside the box. Here comes Janice from Brookings. Let's let her in and then let's get this show on the road. Connecting with audio. So the first thing I want to tell you is last month, I said I would do a survey of everybody, and I did, of what's the best time and date for the membership forum. And it came up Tuesdays at 10 in the morning was by far the runaway winner, which cracked me up because it's probably just you guys that voted, and you're used to it. The other thing is I said first, second, third, or fourth Tuesday or day of the week. And the one that, the two that tied were the third and the second. So we do this on this third Tuesday. So I'm proposing and recommending that we just keep it that way because it was a tie. And that way we don't have to change people's minds. You know, like I said, it was just far and above the runaway best result. And they're all on YouTube. So I think I'm just going to leave it that way. Any problems with that?
No,
Those of you
Sounds
that are
good.
here, those of you that are here, always here. John, you have your hand up, and then Harry, I saw you waving.
I was just voting. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, although, yes, too. I also, when you get a chance, if you have time, I entered late, and so I didn't get the pitch for what you wanted someone for 15 minutes.
Okay. What I'm looking for, one of the ideas that came from last month's forum was to have rotating presenters. So sometimes I get people from out of the district. A lot of times it's just me. And all I'm doing is opening up a topic. It isn't like I have to be a font of wisdom. I look at the participants in this group as the font of wisdom. So I'm going to, like today, I'm going to open up a topic about networking. And we'll talk about that. But you guys have all had various experiences in trying that with your club or not. And your sharing ideas is where the richness comes through. And that's what I'm looking for, somebody to say, I'll facilitate a discussion or I'll open up a discussion about, and then you can pick it. So if you're not getting what you want, you can say, I want to do it on attraction, or I want to do it on involvement or retention, or, pick a topic. So I'm going to pause again and wait for people to say, hey, I'd like to do one on. Raymond, I'm going to mute you, buddy, because I can hear something. You guys are inspiring me.
To be silent?
Yeah, silence is not golden, but I'll keep asking. You're gonna see how easy this little presentation is I'm doing today. And a lot of times, as you know, I open up a topic and I don't even have a slideshow. I put one together for you because I got a new background and I really wanted to try it out.
Well,
And we're gonna-
I'll volunteer for next month then.
Raymond, you
So-
are a saint.
Okay, but
He's
And
just
you
trying to make,
can,
uh,
you
I-
trying to
can,
make up.
yeah.
He was caught talking, so he's got to
Yeah.
do something.
Well, that's great. You can, we're gonna do a poll here at the end of the end of the session. And you'll see how the poll, what people are interested in, but that doesn't confine you. You can talk about whatever you want next month. And I'm not gonna go anywhere. I'll be here too, but I really appreciate the help. And it's a fun way to interact with all these fun people. The last thing I want to let you guys know about, to let your clubs know about, is that we're having another Rotary Leadership Institute in Coos Bay in September
Oh,
on the 23rd and 24th. Registration is $175 and it's going to be a great one. It's going to be at the Mill Inn Casino, which is really a nice venue. We've got food for you. It's a day and a half. It starts Saturday morning about 10 so that your people can get, drive over depending on where you are. That, and keeps hotel stays at a minimum, but watch for that. It'll be coming up. And I think one way to develop our membership is to develop our leadership and take our members and turn them into leaders. And to do that, we've got to develop them as leaders. So, I think that's a really good investment for clubs to send somebody. Anyway, let's move on. I have to run the poll at the end of the meeting, but for now, I'm going to share my screen. If I can remember how to do that, here we go. And let's talk about networking. Now, where is it? It's right.
Got it.
Get out of here. This is in my way. I can't see what I'm trying to look at. There we go. Slideshow from the beginning. Okay, can you see that?
yep.
Networking to attract professionals. I love this topic, like I said earlier, because I think that we've kind of lost track of how important networking is to professionals. When I first joined Rotary, I was a young professional, a lot younger professional. And I joined Rotary because it was the thing to do in the community I lived in. It was the way to be a pillar of the community, a leader of the community. But what happened to networking? It's downplayed these days in Rotary. And what happened, do you suppose? This is an open popcorn answers. So unmute yourself and throw something at me.
Chris, I was wondering the same thing myself because I remember clearly when I started out in Rotary, if someone wore a business attire and it had a company logo on it, they got fined.
Yeah.
And if they were photographed in a newspaper and they didn't have a Rotary pin, they got fined. But if they did have a Rotary pin and a logo, they got fined again. So there was a period of time in Rotary where we really poo-pooed identification at meetings with business groups. And that was in contrast to the starting, or origins of Rotary, where meetings rotated among different business leaders' place of business. And I thought to myself, how did we transition to that? When did it become not okay and how come? And I
Any
can't
other
answer that.
observations, comments?
Well, I agree with Joe on that to a certain point. The idea of the networking, and we've tried it with the business networking, to highlight businesses and share your recommendations type stuff, became a tool as a fundraiser rather than the benefit of the business or the employee promoting the business,
Hmm.
which detracted from the networking aspect, other than, hey, yeah, I'll pay $5 to promote my business. But it was a detriment.
Bev, you've got your hand up.
Well, I don't know about other clubs, but people haven't joined our club for networking. They join it to do the service. And so we just have a whole bunch of, I was looking at in the last month, our in the last Rotary year, our 8 members that have started. 3 of them out of the 8 are from nonprofits, so that seems to be where our club has gone. So I don't know I guess it depends on the club.
Sure it does. Other comments, observations?
I would say at our Medford Rotary that networking is actually frowned upon. It's sort of culturally frowned upon, and it's basically we're just there for service, and nobody networks. I've been a member for 20 years. I've never seen or been a part of any of that.
Yeah. I know when I joined in 1987, networking was frowned upon if you, like Joe said, wore your logo or said something about your business, or heaven forbid you were written up in the newspaper for something your business was. That was always an automatic fine. But let me pose this question. How do we know how to best serve together if we don't know what each other's strengths are? And how do you get to know each other's strengths? It's from knowing a little bit about what they do, right? If somebody's an accountant, you know that they're pretty detail oriented. If you know Joe Vincent at all, you know that he loves things like bylaws and policies and procedures. Well, those are helpful things as leaders to know when you're putting your leadership together or approaching a project. We need this and that asset. So I think one thing that has happened to networking in Rotary is that we have an aging demographic. And when you're aging out and you don't work anymore, oh, there you go. You had 2 different computers on. When you're getting, into the retirement age, you don't care about networking anymore. You don't need networking anymore. Or do you? So anyway, let's talk about networking and ways that we can engage a younger professional demographic, because that is something. I go to chamber business after hours and that sort of thing. Let me tell you, there are a lot of professionals there, and they are networkers and they're active. These are perfect Rotarians. Yes, as Bev said, they want to serve. That always goes without saying. They want to serve, but they want to build relationships, friendships, and a network with which to do that. So I don't think networking has kind of got a bad rap, and let's just explore it. Okay, let's see here. I got to put this down so I can see what my next slide is. So why would young professionals especially, or in my case, old professionals, network? Well, for young professionals, they can get some career advancement. They explore their options. They get to know who's who in the community and what's what. If they're a small business, they've got opportunities for business growth. If they're somebody like me as a management consultant, and then you meet somebody that needs management consulting, you know, you don't promote it at Rotary, but outside of Rotary, you make this relationship so you can still, you know, get together with them and possibly grow your business. Knowledge sharing, like I said, when we need somebody to take on a leadership role or a service project that needs a lot of detail, or somebody that needs a lot of creativity. It's nice to know who's who in your club that does those things. Building social capital and personal growth all kind of round out why people network. You can work a little, you know, a lot of people think, oh, networking events. Oh my God, there's a lot of people. They're going to be drinking wine. They're going to be, you know, schmoozing, shaking hands, trading business cards, blah, blah, blah. And maybe you're an introvert. That's the last thing you want to do. I tried an experiment one week when I was running our president was out of town and I was running a meeting, and I was so efficient. We had 10 minutes to spare at the end of the meeting. So I thought, let's do some self-introductions. And so everybody stand up at it one at a time, introduce yourself, tell what you do for a living and who for, or what you did for a living in the case of retirees and who for, and then sit back down. Do you know how much people loved that? And people went, oh, I didn't know you were a realtor. That kind of thing. That is so easy to squeeze into a short span at a meeting. A thing that takes a little bit longer is group introductions. Say everybody's at a table, have everybody introduce the person to their right. Same idea, who they are, where they work, or where they used to work. Alliterative name introductions is sort of a creative one where people can introduce themselves, and then as a way to remember names of who they are, ask them to come up with an alliteration to their name. So maybe I'm going to say, I'm Chris, and I do creative leadership development, so you can call me Creative Chris. A little bit of alliteration. Our club has done speed networking for a program, for a vocational program. And what that is you pair people up with people that they maybe don't know that well, and they introduce themselves to each other. We give them some questions. What do you do? What did you like best of your job? What kind of clients did you look for? And we give them 3 minutes to do that. And then they switch they switch to somebody else. And so it was really hard to get them to stop. Personal trivia is a fun one where you have everybody write down some little trivia, something they know that people don't know about them. And then you collect all those answers and then you read them out loud. Who's somebody in our club that has been to Sri Lanka, you know, or something like that?
Sounds like you're trying to stretch the meeting yourself, darling.
Well, these can be
Yes, these are tricks.
programs. These are programs. You know, the self-introduction is just a short version, and they're all various different times, but a lot of them can be done in a meeting. Group storytelling is a fun thing that I do for team building. You start out with a sentence like, we have a new project at our Rotary Club. And then you ask the first person to add a sentence to that story. We're going to build a story. And the first person might say, it's a project for amputees. And then the second person has to build on that. And they say, we're collecting spare arms and legs. I mean, it doesn't have to be, it can be silly, it can be real, it can be whatever. But as you go along, every person has to build on the last one. It's kind of like, whose line is it anyway? Do you remember that? And that's fun too. So these are all things that either can be done at meetings, but not necessarily at networking events. So there you go. And you're right. Some of them take longer. Now, if you are at a networking event, or if you decide to host a networking event, our club hosted a networking event, and that's how we yielded our new satellite, by the way. So that's, I'm kind of passionate about this. But some people didn't get out of their comfort zone. Some of our members that were interested in a new satellite would come and they would talk to other members that they already knew. And I would say, why don't you know, hey, you can talk to this guy anytime. Why don't you go talk to somebody you don't know? Oh, but I have to catch up with Joe Schmo. No, you don't. Anyway, very frustrating. Get out of your comfort zone and go meet somebody that you don't know. Mirror the intensity of the room. So if everybody's really excited and you're an introvert, try to step up your energy just a little bit. It'll make you fit in better and feel more comfortable. Get good at introducing yourself. What's your name? Who are you with? Most of the time I go to Rotary meetings, I'll gloss over the fact of what I do for a living, and I'll tell them I'm a passionate Rotarian. And then that leads into what's Rotary. We are a service organization that does more for our dollars than any other service organization on the planet. And I've got statistics to prove it. Well, that usually opens up a conversation. So listen to what they're saying. Keep the focus on who they are. And when you do change business cards, look at them. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people trade business cards and they just stuff them in their pocket and they, you know, go towards the next person. So look at them. So let's say you want to host a networking event out of just some, you know, satellite potential, maybe getting some young professionals interested in your club. Who would you invite? How would you find them to invite them? Well, what we did was really successful. We advertised in our local chambers of commerce. It cost $50 to run an ad in their newsletter, their e-newsletter. And we just made an open invitation to come to our networking event. Now, what I did is the first time I held one, I got the club to sponsor $500 to host this so that I could provide some food and beverages were on their own. But anyway, then you have to find how much you've got to spend and where are you going to have it. You want it enough that there's some parking, you want some a good environment for mixing and mingling. You have to have some refreshments. Food always attracts. You want to make sure that you're promoting it is hosted by Rotary. And you might say a little more than just hosted by Rotary. You could say it's Rotary Service Network. We're growing young professionals to meet the unmet needs of youth in our community. That's our mission statement for our new service network. You want to make sure you have a greeter at a front table, and the greeter is going to say, hi, glad you could come. Here's some name and identification. If they don't already have their own business name tag on, give them, you know, one of those groovy stick-on ones. But I made some that I just put a Rotary logo on, and I said, welcome to Rotary, and gave them those. So there was just a little bit. Oh no, and then there was another one that I said, what is Rotary? So that people's name tags would say, what is Rotary? The ones that were new, and the Rotarians that were there could answer the question. So you do want to collect business cards. I recommend door prizes. And why would you collect business cards? Because you're getting leads. You're getting people you can invite to your meetings. You want to have self-introductions. Again, people love a little time to introduce themselves. That's a part of networking that is very valuable to them. And you might work in, hi, my name is Chris Waugh, and I have leader support service, and I'm a passionate Rotarian. But I worked in the question, what do you like or what do you know about Rotary? Well, some people said, I don't know anything about Rotary. And some people said, well, it's a service organization, I think. And some people said, well, isn't it all a bunch of old men? You know, and so you got all kinds of answers that would promote more conversation, which was fine. You could have a Rotary information table where you have a few flyers or pamphlets or whatever you have. And your Rotary table or your door prize could be a free lunch certificate to come to your Rotary meeting. So those are all pretty easy, inexpensive. Let people buy their own beverages. They're pretty used to that at networking events. So nobody wants to be liable for the drunks in the room. One thing that you don't really want to do at a networking event is actively recruit. You don't want to have membership applications shoved under people's faces. You don't want to even have them on the table. You want to have information, but not recruitment. Recruitment is a turnoff, especially to young professionals these days. When they get interested, they'll ask, and then you've got a really live candidate. So I recommend not recruiting. So after you've had your great networking event and you've collected your leads' emails, email them and thank them for coming. Make sure you add them to your email list. So if you have a newsletter, send that newsletter to all of them too. Invite them to meetings, invite them to fundraisers, to your social events or any future networking events. And here's one that gets overlooked, and this happens a lot in networking groups. They meet for coffee chat, one-on-one. So if you find somebody that looks particularly interested, say, hey, you want to go out for coffee one of these days? Or if they really look interested or you really like them, hey, you want to meet for lunch one of these days? I'd like to get to know a little bit more about you. I'd like to know how to plug you into my club because we really need people to deliver food boxes. So what you're trying to do is build that relationship before you build the sell, okay? And that's how you attract members, through networking. So I'm going to stop my share and ask for comments and yebuts. Sharon. Phone dying, switching to computer. Okay. Now, I heard some concern about taking over a meeting. So, oh, hi, Angela. You joined us. Angela is our zone membership coordinator, director. She is just amazing. And I can still never remember her title, but it's really a good one. Angela, why don't you unmute yourself and tell us how much of that you caught and what you thought of it? Regional Membership Officer.
Yes, I got most of it. I came in about 10 minutes after 10, and I think that when you're creating a nice club culture, that's one thing that we always hear is that you have trouble making friends or getting to know other people, especially if you have a larger club. But even when it's a smaller club, if you're one tight-knit group of friends, it's hard to break in. So
Yeah. Let's see, Joe, you guys do something with business cards. Can you explain that? Because that blew me away when you first told me about that.
Yeah, I think there was a little misunderstanding there, Chris. We haven't
Could be.
actually done this, but I'll tell you how it came up. I was attending a meeting of Rotarians and pre-COVID, and we were talking about what a difference it is in Rotary today that we have this negative kind of slant in many clubs towards self-promotion. And the history of Rotary began with an effort to develop fellowship among other business leaders, and even that's where the word Rotary came from. And one of the district leaders in the group said, "Heck, we ought to just promote the idea of people bringing their business cards to a Rotary meeting and encourage them to hand them out table by table. Put a pile on each table. You could hear a pin drop in the room at the time. And I thought, this is a really good idea. Two, it does kind of cut across the culture of Rotary for a lot of people. But three, maybe it's time to start making that effort and giving people in clubs a sense of permission that it's okay to promote yourself and your business within your group of new service-oriented friends. And so I've often thought that something like along the lines of what we're discussing today, Chris, would be a great idea for a club assembly meeting or a club forum or whatever we want to call it, and say, let's devote a meeting to doing this sort of thing in fun ways. And you've given us quite a list of fun ways to go about doing this today. But I think it ties together with vocational service.
I was just going to say that.
It's just a rock solid connection with the tradition of vocational service in Rotary, and would be I think a wonderful opportunity for us to break out of some of the old Rotary thinking and let some of the old timers think, Rotary might be changing again, and maybe it's not such a bad way for us to go about it.
You could do it as an experiment one time at a meeting, and not make like, we're going to just start selling our services all that. I mean, that would put the fear of God in most Rotarians, right? So, but to do it as a you can have a vocational program and do something like the speed networking or introducing each other, or the personal trivia, and throw the exchange of business cards and encourage people to bring them if they have them, and some people don't. And you can just, you can buy those blank business card, sheets, and they're perforated, so you can tear them up and let people draw up their own personal one if they're retired, because some people don't have business cards anymore, right?
Yeah.
How
Chris,
many of you have active vocational committees or vocational things that go on in your club? Would you wave at me? Bev and Jill, I'd like to hear what you guys do, because, talking about networking isn't too far of a stretch from vocational. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Talk about what we do.
I'll go first.
Okay.
We have vocationals once a month. So we have on our program
Wow.
committee, they usually schedule a vocational once a month. And also on that note, on our last, two of our last couple meetings, our presenters had to back out at the last minute. So my husband really likes the social aspect and the fun games and stuff. So he broke everybody. We did an impromptu break everybody up into tables. And there was questions, like 10 questions he made up. Some of them were like, what's your favorite, or what was your favorite job in your past? And some of them were funny, like with holiday lights, do you untangle them or do you throw them away, or those type of things. And then they all got together, and somebody at the table told the story of the funniest thing that happened or the best, thing they learned. A lot of them just went down the list, but we do vocationals once a month, and we're going to do more of those get to know yourself things on some of our programs, because it was so much fun getting to know
I
each other.
bet it's hard to cut people off at the end when it's time to end the meeting.
Well, yeah, just like me telling you about it, it's hard to cut people
But
off.
when I know from the training, the facilitation that I do for Club Training Assembly or RLI or thing. Once you get Rotarians talking, it's really hard to cut them off. And that's not a bad thing. They love it. They're trying to tell us they love it. So, we should be using that. Janice, where did you go? You guys do exciting things down in Brookings Harbor. There she is.
Well, I tried to get a satellite started, but I got some,
Pushback?
they decided that we needed to have a board meeting to discuss what is a satellite. So our board meeting was supposed to be last night, but 5 of our 9 board members couldn't attend, so we had to reschedule. So we're not working. I mean, we've kind of always done networking though.
What have you done?
Well, it's just, when a new person comes in, we talk about their business and ask them for business cards and give them ours. And it's not an open, I mean, we're labeling it networking, but it happens, not a lot.
In the process of getting to know them, you find out about what they do.
Right.
Bruce, what do you guys do? Whoops, she called on me. Bruce Reese?
Well, Chris, I'm right in the middle of a class, so I don't feel comfortable talking. I'm just listening.
Okay. Let's see, who else? Jerry, you got anything you can add? Or any observations, or do you think we're all crazy?
This is a whole new realm almost of what we do in Rotary. But just like Joe was talking about earlier, we always got fined when we discuss business. And, I can't tell you how many times I've been fined. But it's interesting now because ironically, one day recently, I happened to be wearing a golf type t-shirt or a shirt with my logo on it from my company. And one of the newer members was sitting next to me. She says, "Oh, Jerry, I didn't know you were in real estate." And it's funny, here it is, someone doesn't even know. Well,
I know.
we just kind of assume everybody knows what we do because we're a small club and we pretty much do know what everybody does. So, but that being a newer member, I guess I just never introduced myself that way to her. So I think it'd be really good if we did more of that. And it might attract some of the other younger or whoever members that we're trying to attract, because that people are trying to make a living and it's tough out there, and then we're asking them to pay a X amount in fees to belong to this elite club. Maybe we ought to give them another something else, a little apple to attract them. So I'm for that actually, and I'm getting ready to retire, so I'll be giving up my business cards.
Then you might as well use them up, right?
Yeah.
Let's see, Jill, do you have any insights or observations or yabbuts?
Well, I guess our club is a little bit more of a renegade club because,
Oh, yay.
well, we've never kept our occupations a secret, and oftentimes report during happy dollars and such if something's gone really well, close that deal. I found it interesting. I've known Jerry for years, and he didn't even mention John L. Scott. He still said, "You're a realtor," where in my club, he would have said, "Oh, and I'm with John L. Scott." So I guess we don't tread those waters. we do a couple of fun things on our 5th Thursday socials in the evening. We all submit a little fun fact, we call them.
Oh,
Something embarrassing usually, so we all get a good laugh out of it. Sometimes just darn right silly. And then we pull the description, and we get 3 chances to identify who is that. And it's so interesting because one of our members actually went to an open celebration for Elton John in England. Okay, so who would have known that just by a social interaction at a meeting? And so it just opens up all kinds of conversation ideas, and it is one of our most fun meetings. And the other thing we've done in the past, which always is fun, is your idea about a networking meeting. We call it We Love Jacksonville. Rotary Loves Jacksonville. And we invite all the local merchants. It's not a, I don't know that you would call it a networking meeting. It's more of a community get together. But we do have displays of our Tanzania projects, Guatemala projects, and just talk a little, no membership applications. We have food and provide wine because we have 5 or 6 wineries now, I think, in our group. So it's easy to hit them up for donations. So those are just a couple of things that we do. You know, we oh, and I wanted to make a point. I would much rather do business with a Rotarian that I know than calling Angie to find out who can fix my plumbing. You know, I think that's all a part of any group you belong to. There's a trust level. And a lot of the people that I work with, insurance and financial investor, banking, et cetera, they really stem, and realtors, they really stemmed from my association with Rotary, but that's not why I joined. It's just
Right.
an offshoot. It's an offshoot of getting to know people.
it's a benefit. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Anybody else want to volunteer something? I've got time for a couple more. And I'm not shy about picking on people, but I just wanted, I know somebody's just going, pick me, pick me. Is it you, Sharon?
No, we just have a very small club, so and
I know you
basically
do.
everyone up here is ranchers. So I'm trying to think of any way I can to get more people into it. But I didn't even know, I don't know that much about Rotary. I just joined last year. And so I didn't even realize you couldn't talk about stuff. And
Well, don't worry about it because we're changing things.
yeah, and that's good though. I think it should be. Most people, they believe they are a little bit of what they've done for all those years. I mean, I spent 45 years in television, and I'm going, that was definitely me. I was an engineer. And now that I'm retired, I still use cards, but I don't have anything on them except, you know, my name and my contacts, because I'm used to dealing with cards. But yeah, no, I tell everybody how wonderful Rotary is, and all I can do is just hope, you know, that they say, that sounds interesting, tell me more.
Yeah.
But I invite everybody I can to anything that we do. And I just became the event coordinator for my little town. So I usually have something, waters provided by Rotary, or all these little things so that people will say, Rotary, what's that? But but until I moved up here, I didn't even ever think of a Rotary thing. I knew my dad was a Mason, but I never knew Rotarians. So it's but it's a very cool thing. I like it. I enjoy it. I do all the events I can.
Good
And
deal.
I'm gonna mute because it's getting loud in the back. My dogs are starting to go crazy.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you for sharing. Raymond, you just unmuted.
Right. I like to say it was Sharon brought it up there a little bit, but you also did at the beginning. our Rotary Club is probably 2/3 retired. So the whole networking thing needs to take on a whole different idea for retirees. And then what's left is of people that work, a majority are from the nonprofit world, especially community health centers, that kind of thing. So that we actually have we have a club of 76 members and just a handful of people that are actually in the private sector business world where you typically do that kind of networking. So I think we need to figure out how to redefine networking and how the retirees can be more of a part of that.
You know, another
And I
thing
don't know the
that-
answer. I just know the demographics.
Right. And another thing that just pointed out to me is another change that Rotary has made is the downplay of the classifications. When you say we have mostly nonprofits, that didn't used to go that way. You know, we used to have one realtor and one attorney and one nonprofit and one this, one that. And, I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying this is what we've got now. And how do we keep people connected and networking, even if they're not working anymore? People like to talk about what they used to do or what the most interesting aspect of their job used to be. Harry, I haven't called on you yet, and Aaron, you too. So I want to make sure you each have a chance to share something before I get into the poll. Harry, you're
Well, Chris, to me, Sun River Rotary runs into the perpetual problem of having a large number of retirees and having a large number of people representing nonprofits. So we don't have a pool of people who are actively engaged in a business. And so trying to talk about what they do, we come up short. So that's why I'm so quiet. Normally I'm very gregarious.
Yes, you are. Well, think about Jill's idea or what her club does, where she found out that somebody, could be a retiree, went to an Elton John concert in England. I mean, tell us some trivial thing about you that people might not know. That's networking too. It's not just a work purpose. It's a relationship purpose. So when you think, oh, all I have is retirees, you still want to help them build their relationships. And retirees get into a certain pattern of chatting all the time about grandkids and surgeries. And, there's more to all of us than those two things. And so let's pull those out and talk about it and get re-excited about who we're in a Rotary Club with. Aaron, can you hear? Do you have your ears on? If so, you're muted. Okay, must be away. I'm going to go ahead and run the poll because I've got some ideas for future topics. And then Raymond, what I'll do is I'll get a hold of you separately and we can talk about what it's going to be next month. And so you don't have to go by whatever happens here. Right now, can you all see that? Can you all see it? Give me a nod if you can. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So what you do is you can choose any number you want of those things. Well, I said up to 3 topics, so I guess I should follow my own rules. Not that I ever do. But what this will give us is an idea of where your priorities are and how to run some more membership forums.
3.
Chris, I wanted
You
to thank you.
don't get too, I know you're an engineer, Sharon, so you're being real specific with 3. You could do 4. I won't mind. You could do 2. It's okay.
2 is good, thank you.
I don't want you not to answer just because you couldn't follow the rule.
All right.
Jill, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to thank you for sending me the phone link. This is the first time I've ever used it. We're in Vegas and it's working great.
Well, good. It's really nice to have you here from so far away. Has anybody answered yet? Because my thing doesn't show that they have.
Yeah, I submitted.
I like the chat. Someone said that they found out in networking that one of their members had a one-night stand with Joe Namath.
I love it.
Wasn't me.
I was gonna say, most of the guys I think would probably say no, but I'm not sure, you know, I don't.
Has anybody tried to do the poll and not gotten it to work?
I did it.
I put in this, I submitted already.
I submitted, seemed to work.
Ray submitted. Yep.
Well, maybe I have to end it before it shows, because it should show the answers and I'm not seeing anything yet. I'll give you a couple more minutes. Do people need still a little time?
I submitted.
I submitted.
Who wants more time? Okay, let's end the poll then, and let's see if this gives me some answers, because I'm not seeing anything. Share results. Here we go.
We go.
Where are they? I don't see anything. Do you guys?
Yes.
I do.
Huh?
It's all there.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mine just shows blank, like nobody did anything. Somebody
It
take a
says-
picture of it and send it to me, will you? So I know what it says.
Combat member apathy, 40%, improving diversity, 10%, developing leaders, 20%. It looks like the big winners, 60.
Okay.
Rekindling burned out members is 60%. That's the big winner.
Yeah.
The tie at 50% is member retention and involving all members.
Yeah, those are the ones I changed.
40 was combat member apathy. 30 is member attraction. 20 is member onboarding, orientation, engaging member formats, and developing leaders. And 10% was improving diversity and stating value proposition.
All right. Well, I am going to hope that shows up on the Zoom homepage. Because like I said, all I'm seeing is a big fat nothing. But I want to talk about, let me close by saying one little thing about value proposition. When I started our new satellite, one of our members, and then more and more and more, asked this question: where does my $24 a month dues go? And our dues for our club are $140 every 6 months, but we changed it to a $24 a month recurring payment for the young professionals who seem to think that was a lot cheaper. It's $4 more every 6 months, but don't tell them that. But where does it go? Well, basically the answer was that it goes to the club. You know, it goes to our district and international dues, and it goes to our member supplies and sending people to pets and just cost of doing business, our club accounting and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't think that was a very good answer, especially if I was talking about a value proposition. Here's where your club dues go. Well, it goes to support the club. Aren't you glad you joined? Then I thought, what does the club dues do? And I looked farther into our spreadsheets, and what our $24 does is $108 a month for service projects, scholarships, and programs, because we leverage our funds through fundraising, through grants, through donations from and partnerships. And so my club takes, for the amount of people, the amount of money that people pay for dues yields 4.5 times that in projects. That's what your money does. And I challenge anybody to find another organization that can do that much with the money that they get for being an organization. That's pretty exciting about Rotary. What your dues does is yield exponentially more than the amount of money you put into it. And then that's not even talking about your volunteer hours. That's just amazing. So that's our latest value proposition, and the people in our satellite have been running away with that. It's like, wow, I'm going to tell people it's the best way you could spend your money because you're making such a big impact. Okay, any final questions, comments about that or anything else? Well, we have Raymond will be here next month. That's one way to get you to show up, right? Raymond will be here next month. We will let you know what the topic is going to be, and it will be something that you can all participate in as well. So if there's no other comments, then I gotta go.
Great meeting.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
You're always a joy.
Have a good week.
See you
All
next
right, you
month.
too. Bye-bye.